Hey there, Patriots. It's October 26, 2023. J6 News updates and chat. And we got a lot to cover today. So, oh, the watermark. Somebody got me. You got me today. Let's see. All right, we got to do... There we go. I also forgot to do a thumbnail too. Ooh, Don Bonnie, Nina Rice, step by. How are you all doing, Patriots? Anybody seeing the light at the end of the tunnel yet? Let's flip you down so we can see each other. Hey there, what's up, Patriots? Got a beautiful day here, man. Got shorts back on today. Wrenching on the trucks again. Lot to do on vehicles, you know. Not just mine, but everybody else's too. Yeah, we're doing all right here too, Bonnie. Hi, Karen Saab. How you doing? Sherry Thomas, hello. Well, in case you missed it, let's go over Freedom Corner last night. Let's see, Nicole and Tammy, first Dwight said a good prayer again. And Nicole and Tammy got on the microphone. We weren't expecting to hear from Matt to Silva yesterday, so I think they were just trying to fill in some time. But Tammy mentioned that, that they go into the halls of the office buildings there at Congress and they sit in on the hearings and stuff and report back to us on what's going on. They've been to many hearings now. And Tammy said that months ago that they were in one of these hearings and her and Tommy got a chance to talk to Mike Johnson, our new Speaker of the House. This was before he was Speaker of the House. And they asked him about the J6 issue, does there need to be an investigation? Can he release the tapes? And Mike Johnson said, yeah, we need to do an investigation. An investigation should be done. And one thing out of Johnson's speeches or talk that he gave once he was verified and voted in as the Speaker of the House, one of the things he said, well, first of all, the first thing he did is he brought everybody up and they asked them to pray with him. That's a good start. That's a great start for anybody, let alone a member of our Congress. And I was very psyched to see that happen. And then he said that God raises us up for this time. And isn't that what we've been telling each other all along here? We've been motivated. It's been put on our hearts to stand up and do something, because all it takes for evil to succeed is good men to do nothing and good women. And we're in an era of spiritual warfare. Right? This is beyond just tyranny and stuff. This is spiritual warfare. And God raises us up for this time. So it's spiritual warfare, Patriots. Let's wage some spiritual war. Go to bed every night and pray for this Mike Johnson guy, that he is not corrupted by the power that he has right now. Pray that he stays centered on God. Pray that he stays centered on his family and centered on his country to do good for our country, because it's so important right now. We are so against the wall right now that we need leaders. We've been praying, we've been begging God for leaders right now. McCarthy is out, finally, and it turns out that he is scum. He was sabotaging things to retain his own power, and now we have a guy in there who I think we can have faith in. So let's make sure that he doesn't get corrupted by the power that he is surrounded with right now, because it happens. Good men can get positions, they get positions of power, and we have seen that they've been corrupted. It goes to their head, or they get threatened, or they get greedy, or Many, many things can happen to you when you're in a position like he is in right now. So let's pray for that. He stays centered on God. I think that's extremely important in this age right now, and with his position that he has right now. And then Matt Silva did call in. We were not expecting a call from Matt because he had been in the court that day. He had a hearing, and he said that he's probably not going to call in because of just how your mind is after an experience like that. But he did call in, and he had quite a bit to say. He said that we're experiencing a two-tiered system of justice, and that is on display front and center with these people that are going into Bernie Sanders' office and then protesting down the halls of the Senate office buildings. They went into the Capitol last week. They went into the Cannon building where the House of Representatives have offices, and they've been protesting down there and getting arrested and just released. And then we had this Jamal Bowman dude. He went in there and pulled the fire alarm when they were voting for Speaker of the House. This was a while ago, though. He pulls the fire alarm. They evacuate the office there. They had to interrupt the proceeding that was going on, and nothing happened to him. But just yesterday, I see the charges have been filed on Jamal Bowman, and I think we made Matt Silva aware of that yesterday on the phone. And this two-tiered system of justice is front and center. Debt for Freedom's got Matt's clip, just couldn't upload today. 3 Chris Quaglin transcripts. Yeah, that is taking a while. Chris did call in here later and then go over some more of that. And Deb, that's a wonderful thing that you're doing for him right there. It pretty much documents a lot of the torture, the spectrum of the abuse that these J6ers have gone through for getting on 3 years now. Matt Silva's judge is Judge Nichols, and he says he's not one of the more hysterical judges. And this term, hysterical tyrants, was coined by Matt Silva. I think it's one of the best ways to describe a lot of our people, especially in these courtrooms. But he thinks Judge Nichols is not a hysterical judge. Matt Silva's mentioning that he still doesn't have video visits with his family. He was looking very forward to having a good meeting yesterday, good hearing, and possibly seeing his wife in a month. And now his hearing has been pushed back to December 7th. And this will be his sentencing hearing. Back to December 7th. So he's got to sit in there a month and a half to wait for his sentencing. I think he said he served 3 months so far. I could be wrong on that, though. So Matt Silva hasn't been able to visit with his family at all, has no video visits with them. And it's just one of these things, like, why not? Why can't you have video visits? Unless you're trying to demoralize and crush people, that would be the only reason I would imagine you would not allow them to have video visits in this day and age. It's so possible, it's so easy, it's so secure that it's just another form of tyranny, why they don't allow them to have it. Judges should go into activist mode when they see constitutional rights trampled. So we've been talking about these judges that have agendas, and they're activists for a certain political belief, that they rule from the bench to promote that activism. And judges are supposed to be very neutral. There's a lot of, well, I know the Bar Association, they make rules that a judge is supposed to be impartial. They're not supposed to legislate from the bench with political bias. But we see it over and over and over again, especially with the judges in D.C., who don't even know that there were no cops killed that day, who don't even know that there were 4 patriots killed that day. and just a basic denial of the facts of everything surrounding January 6th. And these judges are the most clueless of the clueless on a lot of these issues. And we don't know why. I think they're choosing to be ignorant of these facts, but a lot of them are gung-ho about throwing these guys in jail because they think that this was the worst attack on our government since 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. I mean, how irrational can you be? Yet these are federal judges that believe these things. So Matt was saying that, you know, when you're a judge, you're here to protect the Constitution. You're here to rule on law and order. And that when you see constitutional rights getting trampled, that should set you off into activist mode. If you're not, you're supposed to be defending our Constitution. And when you see this in your courtroom, they should be standing up and demanding accountability as to why certain of our rights have been removed from some of these guys. Yes, they're in jail, so their freedom has been removed, but we have rights before. You're innocent until proven guilty. You still have rights, even when you're guilty of something and sentenced. You still have human rights. They gotta feed you. They gotta have medical attention. Otherwise, it's just abuse. Hi there, Silva. Thanks for coming in today. Party Bonza, how you doing? Hi, Bonnie. It's good to see you all here. Thanks for joining me here. I hope this is helping everybody out, because you can't watch it all the time. You can't watch Freedom Corner all the time. All right, and Matt Silva also said, they're perpetrating a nonsense narrative that J6 was the worst tragedy since 9/11 and Pearl Harbor, which is nonsense. And these judges are perpetrating that. Especially when the juries come in and they have been super brainwashed that it's one of the most polluted jury pools on the planet, man, in the country for sure. Matt Silva didn't go to D.C. on January 6th with the intentions to hurt anybody. He didn't hurt anybody while he was there. And there's all kinds of stuff that Nicole was talking about that the prosecution didn't even have to prove that Matt knew if he was in a secure zone or not. And it gets very confusing to me because it's drudgery going through the processes of these courts. My whole philosophy on that is just avoid court, period, the rest of my life, so I don't have to deal with it, because it's a quagmire. It really is. So his sentencing was moved to December 7th. He did mention that he went in there, it was a chilly morning, he went in there on the van with the sweatshirt on, prison issue, you know, that it's allowed to be worn in the jail. And as he bought it off of the commissary, he had shoes that he bought off of commissary that he was not allowed to wear in the courthouse. So he says he was put into a holding cell for 5 hours with a metal bench. It's really cold in there, he said. And he's sitting on there with no warm clothes on. Then he's thinking, well, when I get into the courtroom, at least it'll be warmer in there. And he says it was colder in the courtroom. So he's fighting the urge to shiver the whole time he's in there. And this is, I don't know. Do they turn the AC all the way down just so these guys are cold because they know they can't wear a sweatshirt? And why don't they allow them to wear a sweatshirt? Why don't they allow them to bring clothes in and change into clothes? Why do they gotta parade you in front of the whole court in an orange jumpsuit? You're innocent until proven guilty. So these are the public humiliation rituals that these guys are going through. And it's horrible, man. It really is. So it was really cool to hear from Matt Silva. God bless you, bud, for keeping us posted out here. We're just craving information on what's going on with these guys. And I'm really glad when I hear these guys able to call out and just give us a perspective of where their brain is at the moment, because I'm worried for them. I can't imagine that I would be that coherent if I was in there going through what they're going through. I would be mad and probably saying things I shouldn't say, but these guys have discernment, and they are, I believe, protected by God in there. What else can it be? What else can it be? So later in Freedom Corner, Chris Quaglin gave a call in, and he's going through this ordeal of trying to get this letter printed out, put it through Microsoft Word, so that he can spell check things and stuff. Still hasn't been given access to a computer. Still hasn't been given access to his attorneys. Still does not have a meeting with his attorneys. And he found out yesterday that they changed Microsoft Word, so even if they did give him a computer, he wouldn't be able to use it yet because the jail computers aren't updated to the new Microsoft Word. And then Chris went on to read some more of the letter, which details a lot of the torture that he went through and the troubles that he had with the attorneys that he had, and the fact that the court was aware of what he was going through and did nothing to stop it, allowed the abuse to continue. So Chris Quaglin, he's continuing with reading this letter off for us, and it is a summary of everything that all the J6ers are going through right now. And I think it's a good thing that he's doing this. I think he's going to wind up paying for it, but I don't think Chris got anything to lose at this point, you know. We got to get our country back. I mean, it's gone. We're persecuting patriots, and we're letting criminals walk. So that is not a legit form of justice whatsoever. That is not what we have been in the past. Yes, there has been little things that have fallen through the cracks all throughout the history of this country, but we want law and order. You'd think we'd be getting better. We'd be evolving into a better species if the evolution science was true. But it sure appears that we are devolving. We are getting worse as time goes on right now. So this is where we stand up, patriots. Okay, then Jeff Sable called in, so he was the third phone call of the night. He calls in at the end of the night so we can sing for freedom at 9 o'clock with the patriots in the jail there. And it's another night in a row. These guys started doing that before there was even a vigil out there. I heard about them singing the national anthem. It was one of the first things I heard about the J6ers, that they were all standing up and singing the national anthem. God bless them, man. Not losing hope. Yeah, here we go. There's a good comment, Deb. What Chris is saying will be good for prison reform later, I think, right? It is documented, and it is his opinions, and I don't know. He says he's got thousands of pages of proof. So there must be, what do you call it, when they, grievances. He must have been filing grievances along, so I imagine there's a whole chain of paperwork affiliated with every one of these things he's talking about. And that he is asking that those records be preserved in this letter, because he fears that they're just going to lose all that information, all the times that the judge was notified of abuse and didn't address it. I mean, there still should be a paper record of all that. So Jeff Sable called up, and they are still doing the door games because there was a stabbing in one part of the jail. And the policy of the jail is that when you leave your cell to go to the common area for the day, you have to close your door and it's locked. You can't just be walking in and out of your cell, which is the jail policy. And apparently they weren't holding to their policy, and somebody got stabbed in another part of the jail. Now, I don't think that's a problem in the wing where the J6ers are, because they are not criminals. So we'll have to see about that. But they're still playing the door games. And then Tammy, I didn't know this, but there is no bathroom in the common area. You got to go back to your cell to use the bathroom. So he was wondering about, she was wondering, what do you do for the bathroom thing? And then Jeff said they got to tell the jailers, hey, I got to use the bathroom. Can you let me in thing? And they'll let you in, but then you got to close the door. They might leave you locked in there for another hour till they come back to let you back out. So got to play the jail game. And that's what Jeff said. He said, you're in jail. You got to play the game. You got to plan ahead. Go to the bathroom before you go out into the common area. It's just jailhouse rules. Jeff Sable also was hitting on the precinctstrategy.com website, and this is a way to get involved in your government. I took a peek at this today, and there is quite a bit of information there about where the positions of power are on a local level. It says run for your election board posts, run for your commissioner posts locally. They're not that hard to get in. A lot of times nobody's running for them. And if you just start going to your party meetings, and just go in with a low-key attitude, don't go in rocking the boat, and then you can slowly work your way into a position of power within the party, and then you can shape the party in your area. Your vote is a lot more powerful than just the common voter in those areas if you do that. All right, let's see. InfoWars host Owen Shroyer's last words before he turned himself into prison for speech crimes. Okay, yeah. Owen Shroyer had to go into prison today. He's serving a 60-day sentence. I think he's going to a prison in Louisiana. And I did see this earlier today. He had a Big Mac. He was having his last meal. And what he was saying is that he's going to go in there. He's got 60 days. And he's not going to go in there and cry. He's going to go in there and see if he can improve himself. And that was his challenge to all his audience. Can let's try to improve ourselves over the next 60 days. And then this jail term won't be a waste of time. I know I did 60 days in jail one time myself, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And it turned out to be a pretty monumental experience in my life. A, for never wanting to get back into jail. And B, was I started reading. I didn't like learning when I was younger because I hated school so much. School was a miserable experience. And I went into jail and they had books there, and I just started reading books. I don't think I read a whole book until I was 21 years old. I think I turned 21 in jail, like Isaac Thomas did. All right, so he's hitting on the links here now. And we got Q Pro back. Okay, good. Okay, here, I heard this too. Mark Meadows refutes latest rumors of him wearing a wire. And I did hear this like yesterday. So there's these fake news stories that are coming out to just trying to disrupt what I think is turning into our power move right now. That's why we got to pray for Mike Johnson right now. He's got a position of power. This dude can get things done fast. And I did hear this story about 5 days ago. Mark Meadows turning on Trump. This was when Jenna Ellis pled guilty down in Georgia. And somebody said Mark Meadows was wearing a wire. So I'm hearing a lot of like stories that just pop up. And then you get no verification on them and you never hear about them again. And it looks like that's one of those things, man. Election being stolen, nothing about a wire. I don't think Mark Meadows would have told him he was wrong about the election being stolen either. I mean, who doesn't know the election was stolen? There's a lot of people that don't admit they know the election was stolen, but I mean, it's obvious that election was rigged, totally rigged, on many, many different levels. And if we ever do get an investigation into it, and I hope Mike Johnson does this, we will see. Everyone's going to see it. The evidence, I've seen the evidence already. I can list the evidence right now. So let's hope Mike Johnson gets things done. He's got the opportunity. He's got unanimous support with the Republican Party. The Republican Party's got to impress us and earn our trust back, and we got to stay on them. We got to continue to call them like we have during the whole last year, and not just sit back and go, okay, everything's all right. Jeff Sable also said something about this openink.com site, and I looked into it and I didn't see anything. It was like a non-secure site. It looked like copier ink because it thinks I'm trying to say open link. I don't know. Open ink. Open link is something, but I'm not sure that information is good. Jeff Sable's one of his favorite things to say also, and he says it a lot at the end of his phone calls, is the pen is mightier than the sword. And yes, it is. Yes, it is. We all should learn how to pen a good letter. I brought up the 180-second challenge, and I've been working on that. If I could get Mike Johnson on the phone right now, what would I tell him? In 3 minutes or less. And it's just a good drill to try to hone your wordsmithing. How's that? Put good sentences together that people can comprehend, and hopefully it will give them the exact impression of the information that you're trying to deliver to them. Jeff and Tammy talked about the Speaker of the House. Johnson is an election denier. Now, this is the new term. You're an election denier. And it's another term to try to demoralize us and put us down. All right, nobody's denying the election. What we are denying is the legitimacy and the legality of that election. So Johnson is an election denier. He believes that that Trump won that and it was stolen. Mike Johnson is a staunch Trump supporter, and he needs to release the tapes, the security footage from the Capitol on January 6th. And it's just odd. That's another almost proof that the election was rigged, because everybody was there. Okay, open link. Wait, let me see here. Oh, wait, not that one. I just saw it. Okay, open ink. I wasn't putting in that dot in there. So I'll check back into that, because apparently it's something, but it sounds like Jeff hasn't seen that website yet either himself, and he's going on word from other people. But the precinct strategy is a good one. The Biden laptop media is a disgusting one, but it's out there. It shows you what was on the Hunter laptop, and he's good on plugging these links. And he always does the 4ashley.com at the end of the night. It's good just to keep that on the tip of everybody's brain. So if Mike Johnson does all these things, we're looking good right now. And we're looking pretty hopeful. Only it's hard for Jeff Sable to be hopeful, because he's, like he says, while they rot in prison, they'll be hopeful. You know, they're the guys paying the price, the big price for this. Okay, and then another little piece of information in the chat. There was a comment from Denise Green. She is in Virginia, and a vote is coming up. Her representative there is Tim Kaine. You might remember him as Hillary Clinton's vice presidential running mate when she ran for president. And he is up for election right now, and the guy who's running against him, his name is Jonathan Emord, E-M-O-R-D. So if you're in the Virginia area, make sure you don't vote for Tim Kaine again and get this clown out of Congress, and vote Jonathan Emord into office down there. All right. U.S. Attorney says Biden-Ukraine bribery credible enough for further investigation. FBI stonewalled. All right, I got a lot of information on this FBI thing that I just heard about. Gateway Pundit, once again, great source of news. Oh, where did I write this down at? Okay. So we all know that there was 51 intelligence officers that signed a letter that said the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation right before the 2020 election. Now, these are men and women. I don't know if there's any women in there, but there was some 51 spooks is what I call them. These are the guys that run around, do secret stuff on our behalf all over the world. They all signed a letter, and we give them carte blanche to do this. They don't even got to account for the money they spend, our money that they spend. These guys are secretive. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I think they're running around the world making enemies. But they came out with this letter, said the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, which we knew at the time they said it was a lie. Only a lot of America didn't know it was a lie, and it influenced how they voted in the 2020 election. So right there is a small aspect of how the election was rigged, okay? So now we're finding, and then why would they do that, okay? They knew, why would these 51 intelligence spooks sign a letter so that the guy that is guilty is passed over, that he could possibly get into office? Well, here's why they would do that. So they can blackmail the guy and just hold that over his head the whole time he's in office, and then you got your own puppet. Of course they would do that, because they're searching for power. We the people don't vote for them to have power. So that's why they would do it. So you could have a controlled representative in there. And it looks like the information now is coming out that the FBI had 40 informants within the Biden family all the way back to the time that he was vice president. And these lower level agents were feeding the information to the upper levels of the FBI, and the upper levels of the FBI was ignoring it and shutting it down, so that the upper level of the FBI had a controlled candidate in office. I mean, it makes a lot of sense when you look at it that way. If you're looking to gain power for yourself by illegitimate means, of course you would want a compromised person in there, that you were the only person that knew about all the dirty deeds that this guy did, but you just stay shut up and let this guy win the office, and now he'll do whatever you want, because you can just say, well, we're gonna tell everybody what's on the laptop. We're gonna tell everybody about all your deals. So there were 40 FBI informants within the circle of the Biden family since he was vice president. So that would be getting on 8-9 years now. And that these informants were feeding information that would get up to the higher levels of the FBI. All right, like Tom Fuentes down at the Freedom Corner has said, we don't got to get rid of the whole FBI. All we got to do is clear out, I think he said floor 7 was where all the upper level FBI guys are. Clear that out, keep all the field agents in place, because that's where the corruption is at the FBI. Okay, here's a website for Jonathan Emord. if you're in Virginia, get up on this, man. We got to, get good guys in office. Tim Kaine's a wreck. He's a wreck, man. If we have evidence, we can convene our own grand juries. I'm clueless about that stuff. Sorry, Carrie. But that's where we need, people with legal minds. Can we do that if we have that evidence? So do we FOIA request all this evidence that the upper level of FBI hid? I have no idea how that would work, but it would be up to us to organize and do something like that if it is a legitimate option. I know some of the people that I've ran into have legal backgrounds, and I've been trying to motivate them to get into that. I know Caroline, she had done all kinds of stuff in court prior to coming into the convoy in the 1776. So it was good to see these people activated, and that's the type of people we need more of. All right, here's the Convoy of Honor. This is the event down in Branson. Now, Sylvia, what I was wondering, are you guys convoying up from Oklahoma to go to that? And I was talking to my buddy, small water guy. He went to this event last year, said it was awesome. It was awesome. They you can camp out there. They had speakers going on there all the time. They did a little convoy around Branson. He said Branson is a very patriot-friendly place to be, and that they were honoring their veterans down there. So that's an awesome, awesome thing to be doing. Veterans are some of the people we got to pull into this fight, because they are some of the best patriotic people in the land, and what's going on now is we need patriots to stand up. Okay, I got another link. Here it is. Way to go, Sylvia. FBI received criminal information from over 40 confidential sources. Another Gateway Pundit. Another Gateway Pundit article. Okay, now in other news, Judge Engoron fined Trump $10,000 for talking, basically. All right, they got a whole week for veterans down there. So the smirking judge just fined Trump, I think now twice, $10,000 for breaking his gag order, for shutting down somebody's free speech. Yeah, Cleo, she is something with the links. It's something to behold, that is for sure. In other news, the USS Carney shot down 3 land attack cruise missiles and several drones that were launched out of Yemen, that were heading north out of Yemen towards Israel. So one of our battleship destroyers engaged an enemy and shot down 3 cruise missiles, land attack cruise missiles. That's not a homemade bomb missile made out of water pipes. That's an official cruise missile that has a range of hundreds of miles, and several drones that were launched out of Yemen. Okay, Sylvia, cool. So you're traveling with MGB. Good. So you'll be there. There's another good reason to get down there. In other news, so Jamal Bowman has been charged now. Now, I heard that he was charged and he already made a plea deal. He could pay $1,000 to stay out of jail, but that couldn't have been true because the paperwork that I saw for his charges weren't filed until yesterday. So Jamal Bowman has been charged with a false fire alarm charge. Now, that isn't exactly what he did. There is way more than that. If that was a J6er, there would be about 7 or 8 more charges on top of that because they evacuated the building. He interrupted an official proceeding. A lot of that. And so he's still getting off light, but we'll keep tabs on what they do. Ooh, what's this? Shadow. The Blaze released the first installment of the Truth of J6 videos. Oh, nice. Yeah, will Jamal Broman get 18 years? I don't know, Cleo. I don't know. He should, according to the standards that the J6ers are going to. I would rather the J6ers are held to the lesser standard, the more reasonable standard, like Owen Shroyer, all right? Owen Shroyer only got 60 days, and he started serving today. All right, Shadow, I'm not sure about the Blaze. I'll check that out and see. What else happened? Yeah, this shooting in Maine. So apparently, nobody's got sidearms up at a bowling alley in Maine. And some guy walks in, shoots 16 people dead, and many more injured, many more shot. So here we come. This is probably to take the wind out of the sails. It's either a false flag or an activated lunatic. A MK Ultra guy that they keep these people around to do these heinous crimes, and they know how to activate them to take the wind out of the sails of the Mike Johnson victory. Okay, so get ready for more of it, because if Mike Johnson starts hammering out good legislation that is beneficial for we the people, these false flag attacks and real attacks, diversion stories are going to be more and more and more. They're going to have to do one every time we have a victory. So we had a victory with Mike Johnson. Now we got this guy up in Maine. Now, I find it hard to believe it in a rural area in Maine, some guy could get away with that, okay? Because we have the Second Amendment here in America. Maine is rural, okay? I know it happened in the second biggest city, but even Maine's cities are kind of rural. I did hear that this was a heavily Muslim Somali populated area, kind of like what's up in Minnesota. I didn't know this, but apparently a lot of Somali immigrants have landed in that zone in Maine, but I don't know what that has to do with anything. It was just a piece of the information that I got when I was looking into this today. So I think it was a diversion, a diversion story. Whether it's true or not, whether it's dead people or not, I don't know. I didn't see any pictures of bodies laying on the ground with pools of blood under them, and you never do. You never do see that on these things. And I think it's just House action will be squelched by these fake stories. It will dominate the news cycle for, I don't know, they could get 3 days out of it or something like that. Okay, here's a link to what Shadow was saying about the Blaze. The Truth About J6 Part 1. Okay. I'll check that out. I don't normally go on the Blaze. I'm not familiar with them. All right, so now we got rid of McCarthy. Let's get rid of the other McFailures in the Republican Party, like Ronna McDaniel. Let's get rid of her. She's the head of the Republican Party. She shafted the MAGA movement in the last election. She turned the red tsunami into a trickle, just like Kevin McCarthy did too. He was in charge of the purse strings for a lot of our candidates for that red tsunami we were supposed to have a year ago. And it just turned into the red trickle, and a very small majority in the House of Representatives. And we lost the Senate in that last election. We were supposed to have, remember, for a whole year, we heard about the red tsunami for the third time in my life. And let's get rid of Ronna McDaniel. Why is she in there if she's sabotaging Republicans? I don't get it. And let's get rid of Mitch McConnell, the McFailures, all of them. Why are they all named Mick something? It's just too weird, too coincidental, man. Yeah, all right. So all right, Cupo, Pro, you just gulp down every piece of information CNN told you. That's good. That's really good. Don't investigate anything because you know the truth there, Q Pro. All right, you got all the information you need. You're gonna call everybody else a liar. Let's look into this, man. I'm not gonna let CNN tell me what happened up in Maine. I'm gonna call people I know up in Maine. I'm gonna look up local newspapers. I'm gonna do some investigation, but I'm not gonna just gulp the Kool-Aid from CNN and believe this story hands down what they tell me. All right, Q Pro? That's where we're coming from, dude. That's where we're coming from. Of course he's persistent on this story. Another sick thing. All right, I'm getting into too much time here, 45 minutes. We got to wrap this up. Another sick thing I saw was on InfoWars, the Reese report. They are now using, you know how kids, when you want to give them a shot, you want to give them the vaccination? The Reese report put out a really good segment, I think yesterday, about how these doctors are getting paid money to get a certain percentage of their patients on the vaccination program. And they get a lot of money. I mean, some of them, the average, if you just average it out, Greg Reese on the Reese report says they get $350,000 if they can get 63% of their patients 100% on the program, which is like 24 vaccinations for an infant, okay? Which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And they're also using VR, you know, the goggles, virtual reality goggles, to help children not be so freaked out when they're being brought in by their parents to get a vaccination shot. And they think this is the greatest thing, man, that we can actually make a kid enjoy getting a vaccination. Because kids are naturally freaked out by getting a shot. I can remember it. And then I can remember the first time I didn't cry when I got a shot, you know? I can literally remember that. And these people, they put the VR goggles on the kids, and they give them the shot, and they're looking at all this other stuff going on. And they just think this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, you know? We can just hoodwink the kids into taking shots. It's just great. So heads up for the other diversions that are gonna come soon here. Because that's what they did when Trump got into office, man. That whole Las Vegas shooting thing happened within the first year of his presidency, and they kept doing it. The school shootings all took place then. I'm not saying these are fake stories, but man, they are blown out of proportion. They are blown out of proportion. All right, Deb for Freedom, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for the info you're putting into the chat. I'll see you tonight on the chat. Yeah, I heard the killer in Maine is still on the loose. That's right, Bonnie. That's what I've heard. That's what I'm hearing. All right, Sylvia. So that's how we get our information. We call people who live there. When Maui was happening, I called my buddy in Maui, you know, and he gave me the scoop. Half of the stuff I was hearing was true. Half of it wasn't. Half of it was not even mentioned. Wasn't even reported on. All right, so, and then the 40 informants that were inside the Biden family, that was from Senator Chuck Grassley, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Okay, and then I got an address for Jonathan Owen Shroyer. He is in prison right now in Louisiana. He is inmate number 05937-107. The jail that he is in is, here, maybe I can do this. Right there, Jonathan Owen Shroyer, FCI Oakdale 1, P.O. Box 5000, Oakdale, Louisiana, 71463. And we'll see if that shows up on Patriot Mail Project. I doubt it's there right now, but that's the address in case you want to write to Owen Shroyer there. All right, we got a wonderful little fake deer here in front of me. Another beautiful park here. All right, Patriot, that's it. Well, there's more, but I gotta cut it short here. There was stuff I forgot to go over yesterday. But things are looking up. I think I see light at the end of the tunnel with this Mike Johnson. And I'm praying he stays true. I'm praying he stays true. Let's give you a link to Deb for Freedom. She's doing the Great Bone Call shorts from the Freedom Corner event every night. Stormtrooper is also doing that. And Matt De Silva's phone call from last night was awesome. And I'm not sure if there is one. Somebody had a short out for that. I think it was Deb. But I am not sure. Owen Shroyer is in solitary because of the COVID restrictions. They put you into solitary when you first come into jail and take your temperature, monitor you so you're not bringing COVID into the jail. They've done that to a lot of the patriots, all the patriots that come into the DC gulag. So yeah, that's just a normal procedure there. All right, patriots, we'll see you out there at Freedom Corner tonight, and then I'll see you tomorrow for some more J6 news and updates. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is Jericho, over and out.